Hello and welcome to the Opening 45, the football podcast, which is the equivalent to those football debates down the pub with your mates. My name is Oliver Greystone, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Will Matthews. How is it going, Will?
Yeah, not bad, mate. This week I've definitely got my mic plugged in. I've got my coffees ready and our brand new mugs. And I'm ready to go this week.
Opening 45 store coming soon. Joining us today is the founder of the Every Man Matters Football Club and obviously friend of the show. How's it going, Danny Brumpton?
I'm happy, mate. It's Saturday, the football's on. I've got a Guinness. I'm with you two boys. I couldn't be any happier.
Good boy, good boy.
How are you two? You good?
Yeah, not bad, thanks, buddy.
Yeah,
Good, that's what we like to hear.
So every week, each of us are going to follow a team while we're talking through the first half. I'm going to stick with Southend. It's been painful, but I'm going to stick with them. They are playing Stevenage today, so that's definitely a defeat on the cards. Go on, Dan, I'll start with you. Who are you following, mate? I know Forest have played.
Forest are in my heart, but obviously they've already let me down today with the early kick-off at losing 2-0 to Reading. So because I'm a childish mentality, I am following Millwall only because I want to see them absolutely hammer Derby. And that is the only reason. There's no other reason to it. So up the Millwall today. That'll be me.
No, can't disagree with you on that one. Up the Millwall. I'll never say that again. But,
No, yeah. It's not something I thought I'd ever say, to be honest. And I was searching around for a team to follow. I didn't want it to be a championship one, but I thought, why not? We hate Derby, so I might as well just follow Millwall.
Yeah, we were talking before the game, and there's actually been a goal in Will's game, so I'll let him introduce that.
So I've only just checked it. I'm deciding to follow a good ex-Norwich City player as a new manager of MK Dons. And they're playing Accrington Stanley, and I believe Accrington Stanley are 1-0 up in the first 8 minutes.
Come on, the Stanley.
So,
No one likes MK Dons.
Come on, let's get back into this game.
Sorry. Your actual team there, Will?
Yeah.
Nearly.
Sheffield Wednesday have just had a goal cleared off the line by Norwich. So,
Come on, you Canaries. Canaries still up there. Canary's still up there.
I rate that. I've got a lot of time for that.
So we're cheering on MK Dons and Millwall today. This is a bit of an odd one.
Yeah, no, strange, isn't it?
Two teams I can't stand. So
To be fair, Millwall's never a favourite of ours because I can guarantee whenever Forest play them, that no matter what we do, we could put 15 players out and they'd still find a way to beat us. But that long ball football, Forest, whoever they put at the back just can't seem to handle it. It's a joke.
no, I had a Barrett still there, so Southend legend.
Yeah.
Try and keep a bit of an eye on them a little bit, but you just can't shrug it, can you? It's Millwall. Unfortunately.
There's just certain things about certain teams, isn't it?
It is. I don't know whether it's because of the area we live in, with that West Ham connection, but
yeah, could be.
Could be that. Obviously, Danny, we brought you on the show, and as I mentioned in the introduction, you are the founder of Every Man Matters Football Club. So,
I am.
Do you want to talk about basically who is Every Man Matters? Obviously, I know, but for the listeners.
Yep. Basically, Every Man Matters is a group of friends. We get together on every other Friday night. We are a charity football team from Bipolar UK. We play our home games at Bipolar UK New Lodge. And we're looking to raise £5,000 this season to give to our local Mind, which is South. I always get this wrong, but it's South East and Central Essex Mind is our local one. Purely because when I was feeling at my lowest, they helped me, and not a lot of people know that local branches of Mind don't get no funding from National Mind whatsoever. So they're completely self-funded. So the people that run like the marathons and that for Mind UK and stuff like that, that goes to their head office, so to speak, and the local branches will see none of that money at all. So without self-funded events like we do, people in the local area will lose their services to help with people's mental health. Basically, that's the reason we're doing it, because football and Mind saved my life.
Yeah. Well, you're doing a good job, mate, and we're all proud of you, especially with how open you've been about your own mental health as well, and the fact that you've now set up this charity football team. And you do more than just a football team, don't you?
Yeah, I do. The thing is, because you guys know me on a personal level, you know how outgoing and up for a laugh and always the first for the bit of jokes and that. So if people like you can see that I was struggling,
Yeah.
and then it might make other people think about the quieter ones in life, so to speak. You know, the ones that aren't so extrovert or out there. Like literally, I got to the point of basically trying to kill myself, which comes as a surprise to everybody because I was the guy that was always up for a laugh and always happy and do you know what I mean? Bits and pieces like that. But we don't see what's behind closed doors with people.
Yeah, I think that's with most mental health.
Yeah.
Both myself and Ollie, we've both suffered with mental health, and for myself, I kept it very personal and quiet.
Yep.
I started talking about it more in recent years, or recent months, since April. Really. You guys know what happened to me, and maybe one day I'll actually get the confidence to get you back on. But instead of interviewing you, Danny, we'll interview myself and me and more about it. But yeah, it's something what needs to be discussed and open up about, because men's mental health is a struggle.
Massively.
And no one knew you were suffering for as long as you did until you came out.
Yeah.
And you coming out has actually helped other people come out. And you're an inspiration to so many guys out there, especially around.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
For what you've done. You've been an inspiration to me, mate. Like when I went through my roughest bit, you were the first person I messaged.
Yeah.
And
like I say, I'll listen to anybody. You haven't got to be like, obviously, I'll listen to my friends. That's a given. But anybody struggling, I'll know what it's like. I'll listen. I'll help. I'll do anything I can.
Yeah.
I can't, like I always say to people, I can't always tell you what the answers are or how you're going to get over it. But all I can do is try and guide you through it, because everybody's different in the way that they deal with it.
Yeah, totally. I mean, a lot of the time it's just to talk to someone that you know personally, because it seems more relatable as well, and it seems more normal. I mean, like I used to bottle it all up before, and I want to echo what Will said, and it does come down to you being an inspiration when you spoke out about it, and it was just like, well, I can talk about it then, and then obviously everyone's like problems are different to each other. Some people might see them, you might perceive your problems as something small, but they build up, and it's just it doesn't matter how small you think it is, just talk about it. And that's the thing that I found. I like I'll talk about everything now, just to get it off my chest, and that makes a hell of a difference. You think those small little things which just only build up, and it just can take one thing to tip you over the edge. So it's just that
massively
hearing people that I know talk about it gave me the confidence to just go, well, I can talk about it as well now.
But that's all I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to change the world. I'm not trying to be Nelson Mandela. But if I can show people that it's all right to talk, at the end of the day, fear comes from lack of knowledge. The more we talk about it, the more it becomes a normal thing.
Yeah.
Basically, that's all I'm trying to do, is just open that discussion with people.
Yeah, 100%.
The most important thing is to promote not just men's mental health, that it's okay to talk about it.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing. It is okay to open up and talk about mental health.
And
so sometimes it's talking to a group of people or just one friend. One friend can change your life.
Yeah,
and
massively.
From personal experience, I can put it down to 3 people why I'm here.
Yeah.
That's...
But I'm the same. I can put it down to like you say, 3 or 4 close people. And luckily for me, getting back into football, because obviously it took my mind away and gave me a focus.
Yeah.
So, but without them people dragging me through, I would have never got back into football, which would never ultimately led to where we are, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you mentioned that obviously that's like your message, isn't it? Like for you, football saved your life. I guess that's what inspired you to do Every Man Matters, to keep it a football-based thing. But like for you, you say football saved your life. To what extent would you put that down to?
Basically the playing of it, because every week I know I had something to look forward to. I had a routine basically. So in my mind, I thought, obviously this Sunday, and then all I've got to do to start off with is I've got to get through to Wednesday, because then I know I'm playing football again. Because for that hour, 90 minutes, you don't think about anything other than the game.
Yeah.
So then obviously when training's done, you think, right, I've only got to get through till Sunday. So basically with football, it helped me take it in like 3-day blocks.
Yeah.
So it's like, think of Sunday. And then, like, if I know I had a bit of a bad game on a Sunday, it sounds really, but the way my mind works, it sounds really daft. I think, well, I've got to stick around because I've got to improve next Sunday.
Yeah.
Like, and stuff like that. It's just little challenges you set yourself.
Yeah. So for me, football sometimes became a trigger. And I think that comes down to the environment that I was playing with, I think, because I was playing for a very, very good side. They were very well ran. They were people I could talk to, but I put pressure on myself because they were at a certain standard, and it was at a standard that I perceived I should be at, but wasn't getting there.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I just started getting involved with Everyman Matters, and I was actually like, I can enjoy this. This is football that I can actually enjoy. Which I suppose it's testament to why there's so many charity teams cropping up now, because people see that appeal as it's just football. There's no leagues, there's no pressure in that sense. You can
that's exactly what we was trying to create. Because to me, like, obviously the ultimate goal is to raise the money. We can't look past that. The ultimate goal is literally to give Mind money. But the little side things is there's no pressure. There's no we have to win this to get 2 places up the league, or these are a good side, so we like hold tight and go and enjoy your football. If we lose 5-0, we lose 5-0. As long as you've walked off the pitch with a smile and we've raised a couple of quid, we've done our jobs. That's all we're trying to do. Football is a gift for us, basically, and we should enjoy it. We shouldn't put so much pressure on ourselves. We should literally just go out for 90 minutes, have a laugh with your mates. You do something daft. Do you know what I mean? You lose.
Yeah.
As long as we raise a couple of quid, that's all we're trying to do, and have a laugh with it. That is literally all we're trying to do.
Yeah. So you mentioned obviously raising the money.
Yep.
We've done bloody well with that, haven't you? So far, with what we've had to deal with.
There. We're getting there so far. Like I said, the aim was £5,000. Like when we was lucky in a position that Billericay let us use their facilities for 16 fixtures, I want to say it was, for not a single penny. They didn't want no higher fee or anything. They said, yep, you can use it. It's yours. So every penny that we make on the night is in the pot. We wanted £5,000, and all I can say at the minute is we're well ahead of where we expected to be. Obviously, I don't want to put too many figures out there yet because obviously like little bits and pieces and stuff, but we're well ahead of where we was expecting to be at this point. Well, where I was expecting to be, because always the pessimist in me thinks, we won't quite get there. But with everybody's support, it's got us to where we are.
So I know it was founded this year, Everyman Matters, but what month was it founded in, roughly? Was it the beginning of the year, or?
It was founded in, bear with me, let me speak to my the planner, which is sat next to me, the wife. When was Everyman Matters founded? I know it was during the first lockdown, because we was meant to play, because how it started, we had a one-off charity game at Southend last year.
Yeah.
And we raised £3,000, I think it was. Not just in the game, but lead up to the game and the game, we raised £3,000. And in my head, I thought, why can't this be a weekly thing? Why has it got to be once a year? So we originally planned to have a game at Averley. And obviously, because of the pandemic, the lockdown, that got stopped. So, excuse me, we decided to, instead of doing it once a year, we decided to make it every 2-week thing. So me and the wife sat down and literally thought of the concept of Everyman Matters. I want to say it was June.
So you've risen that much money in what, 5 months and 2 lockdowns?
Yeah.
Mate, that's impressive. And what you and Lauren are doing.
It's all her. Honestly, it's all the people around me. I have these daft ideas. Like I have the idea of the concept, but this logo would never be on all these jumpers if it wasn't for Ollie. We would never would have got to Billericay if it wasn't for Lauren. I have the ideas, and then people around me make it happen, which is the support network. Do you know what I mean? Everybody that bought a hoodie, without them, we wouldn't be where we are.
Yeah.
Like even like the printers, like they do us a great deal. We wouldn't be where we are without the printers. Everything at a time where the world seems to be going wrong, on a personal level for the football club, everything seems to be falling into place. Because I'd say June is when we first had the idea. And then me and Lawrence must have spent 6 weeks trying to find a venue.
Yeah.
And we were getting turned away left, right, and centre. And then Lauren was like, well, I'll speak to Bill or Ricky in the off chance. And we were just lucky that they were looking to promote a charity side in the same time we was looking for a grand.
That's crazy, isn't it?
So everything's just seemed to have fallen into place, like completely out of my control. Like, I'm glad it has, but it seems to have just gone from there to there in, like you say, in 5 months.
While we're talking about Lauren,
Yes.
how important has she been for you personally?
I don't want to say too much because she sat there. You know what I mean? I don't want to feed her ego. No, mate, there ain't even enough words to say what she did for me. Like, it got to points when I was depressed that she used to drag me and like literally bath me because I wouldn't look after myself.
Yeah.
Like, she's put up with every single emotion that I could ever throw at her, and we've been together 10.5 years. So, do you know what I mean? Obviously, she's hit the jackpot because I'm a stunner. But no, on a serious level, mate, I wouldn't be alive if it weren't for her. Like, I can't. There's not enough words to say what she's done for me, basically.
Yeah.
Go on. Sorry.
Behind a good man's a great woman.
Massively.
I think she's done that for you, and I don't think people behind the scenes get enough credit as well.
Mate, not even just for like me personally, but even the lads that are in the Every Man Matters group chat and stuff sees the stuff that she does for the football team without any recognition. She washes the kit every week. She sorts the kit every week. She does all the track and trace on the door and takes temperatures. She takes the money. She makes sure everybody's got their merchandise. She posts all the merchandise out. I'm just a mad bloke that comes up to Lauren and go, right, I've got this mad idea. And she's the one that sits down and go, this is how we're going to make it work. And I'm like, yeah, sweet. And then my mind will go off somewhere else and I'll have another mad idea. And she'll be like, right, this is the steps we need to make it work. So she is literally the driving force. I'm just the idiot that talks a lot and promotes it a lot.
That sounds like this podcast, to be honest.
Oh, mate. But like, obviously, I'm not going to go.
Who's the idiot then? Go on then.
I'm the idiot. And you bring me on to talk about the bullshit.
I'm not going to go into too many details, but there was a time during the pandemic that Lauren had her own struggles, and I like to think that I helped her through it.
Yeah.
Like, so that's what marriage is about, though, isn't it? It's give and take. Do you know what I mean? I give her my wages and she takes it, so that's what it's about, isn't it? But yeah, no, I think we make a good team. We put it that way. We make a good team.
Yeah, you've got a good one there, mate. I spoke to her last night when I came to collect the T-shirt. I've got so much respect for both of you. You're both lovely people.
Try to be.
Yeah.
That's all you got. That's all the world needs, isn't it? A bit more happiness and just to be a good person.
Yeah,
100%.
definitely, mate.
But yeah, she is the driving force behind everything. I'm just, like I say, I'm just me. You know me. I can waffle on for hours about madness.
No, it's good though. But on a broader spectrum, when we talk about mental health, and especially in sport and in football, it's become a big talking point the last few years. Big names talking about it. And I've had this conversation before in the past where half the time for me, it feels like it's a fad, that it's just that this is what we're going to talk about this month, but there doesn't really seem to be. I know you're changing like the perceptions, and you know, some people would hear that and make decisions in their own life to sort of, you know, they take on board. But I feel like sometimes you get big names talk about it because it's some guy higher up that said this is what we should talk about this month.
Massively, you're gonna get that with everything, aren't you? It's the same as obviously it's good that it happens, and I will never discourage anybody from speaking or anything like that. But it's the same when it becomes Mental Health Awareness Week. Everybody's on the bandwagon for that week. Whereas mental health needs to be a 52 week a year subject. It don't need to be Mental Health Week. You don't need to put it into a box. It is what it is. We live with it. We deal with it. It's the same as like, obviously I know they're completely different things. One's physical, one's mental. But it's like cancer, like that's forever spoken about, isn't it? Like all the time. Yeah. Well, mental health seems to be, it's the week now. Let's put up a quote and say, I'm always here for you. Do you know what I mean? It needs to be every day, every single day, people not need to talk about it, but need to acknowledge it, that it is an issue. With social media and the way things are going socially, the ages of suicide are just getting lower and lower, and that breaks my heart. There's people as young as like 9 attempting to take their own life. What have you learned at 9? What life have you had at 9? Or because you're trying to live up to a social image of how you should live.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's like I had a conversation. I can't remember the name of the show now. It's terrible. I should have done more research. When I was on that radio show, I can't remember what it's called. You might remember.
Oh, the Sunday Sports Show.
Yeah, something to do with the cat. Something cat, wasn't it?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I can't think of the name. Forgive me, I can't think of the name, but my mind's gone blank. Yeah.
We'll put it in the comments below and we'll chat with Adam. So I was on there and talking, and we went on the same subject about it being a bit of a fad, and as you say, it should be 52 weeks a year.
Yep.
It shouldn't be a thing to talk about. It should just be ingrained. And for me, it's something that needs to be educated in schools from early.
Funny you should say this, because up north, obviously where all my family still are, they're slowly starting to change that way of thinking, because my nephew, who is 13, he has got to do research and a talk on men's mental health for his sociology or something like that with schools. So they are starting to introduce that into schools. I don't know about down here because I don't talk to many kids down south, because that'd just be a bit weird. But obviously my nephews are all up north. So because he rang me the other week and he said, can I speak to you about mental health? And even that little bit of dialogue of me being able to open up to my nephew who's 13 about my struggles might help him later on in life.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
So they are starting to bring it into schools up north. I know that. And it needs to be. It needs to be.
Yeah. I mean, because you've got through school from early age, you've got physical education, and you're just taught. Everyone knows that you want to be in good shape. You want to be healthy. You got to do physical, basically physical activity. So you learn that as physical education. So we're only taught from school all the way through school that the only way of being healthy is to look a certain way. Basically, that's the way it's programmed in, and that stems half of probably most of the problems, and it's image. And
Massively.
Your only education on health is to look like this guy in the scientific catalogue who's got all the muscle definition. So he must be he must be healthy.
It's probably the most unhealthiest bloke that's full of steroids as well, but that's a different subject altogether. But
in my opinion, it should be then the mental side of it. That should be hand in hand with physical education. That should and it shouldn't be made a thing, because as soon as you put shine a light on it and you make it a thing, then you get the stigma again, because you're almost labeling it as something that's wrong or something that's a weakness, as opposed to just being like, here's mental education. Just there's no ifs and buts about it. No reasons. You don't highlight someone that did X, Y, and Z. You don't highlight the activists. You just say, this is something you should look after you yourself, and here's how you do it, just as part of physical education. Because I think,
but the thing is, I'm always a firm believer in, you can't get physically healthy unless you're mentally healthy. Unless obviously you're like an elite athlete and you're struggling, but a lot of the drive to become physically healthy comes from being mentally healthy. Like I said, there was times where, like with mine, I overate so much, and like I wouldn't shower for like 3 weeks at a time and stuff like that, and that's not physically healthy because my mind wasn't right.
Yeah.
But it needs to be brought into schools, the same as everything. But I've just got a very dim view on schools anyway. I don't believe they set you up for life when you leave.
No, they don't.
I was having a discussion the other day with I think it was my mum and Lauren, and that I was like, it's all right. I might have learned algebra, but I didn't leave school knowing what, like, for example, a tax code was. I didn't know what that meant as soon as you left school, and like stuff like that. I didn't know what like insurance, like national insurance, tax, and all that sort of stuff was. But I know how to read a fucking, pardon my language. I know how to read like a Shakespeare sonnet. But I had no idea about the real world. There's a lot that could change with the schools, I believe.
Yeah, that could be a whole other show just talking about.
Yeah,
schools.
exactly. That's why I don't want to go down that rabbit hole too far.
Let's not go down there. I mean, me and you share the same opinion that it's outdated, and you are set up to go and work in jobs that ultimately don't really exist anymore. You know, go and work down in the work down the mines, or you have to go and become a banker. It's there's so much more you can do now. So the schools
Exactly, but you look at some of the most successful people in the world. They didn't do very well at school.
No, half of them don't have even the Americans don't have a high school degree. They dropped out
Exactly.
and now they're billionaires.
Exactly. So, but yeah, that's we'll save that for a different show. I'll come back on and we'll have a school edition.
We'll come back on with a school edition.
Yeah.
But yeah, do you still think there is? I can sort of tell the answer to this, but you still think there's a massive stigma with it all, with mental health in sport?
Yes, massively.
Yeah. What would you say the biggest? What would you say the biggest stigma, in your opinion, is?
The biggest is people not being confident enough to speak about it, which stems from people not understanding it because we fear what we don't understand. So if I come out to somebody and was like, the very first time I was like, look, I'm on the verge of killing myself, 9 times out of 10, because they don't understand it, the first thing they're going to do is run away from it, which in turn is going to make you feel worse because you think, well, they've left me. Do you know what I mean? They're not going to listen to me, but it's because they haven't been taught that these things can happen. Whereas we all know that, like, we all know about broken bones and stuff. So if I went somewhere and went, oh, I broke my leg, everyone would be like, oh, is everything all right? Anything you need? But because we don't know how to cope with mental health, people run away and they're scared of it. That's literally all it is fear. And just because you've got poor mental health, it don't mean you're a bad person. It just means there are times when the darkness in your mind has consumed every single thing about you. That's all it means.
Do you think it's harder for men because it's almost perceived as like a weakness, so therefore it's harder for a man to admit that?
Massively. And nobody wants to be, especially. That's why, like, especially in football teams and stuff. You know what it's like when all the lads are together. You don't want to be the bloke that sits there and admits that he cries. You don't want to be the bloke that sits there and admits that he can't deal with the thoughts in his head. You don't want to be there and be the man that overthinks every scenario. So you bottle it up. But I'm trying to show, like, me, I'm a big guy. Like, I struggle. I'll sit there and cry. Yeah. That's what it's about. If it can show that I can do it, not do it. That's the wrong word. But if it shows that I can open up, anybody can.
Yeah, and that's the biggest point, isn't it?
Yeah, that is literally we're scared to open up, and we're scared to learn about it. They're the two things that I've always have said are the sticking points with the stigma. We can all share a quote, or we can all say that we're here, but until we educate our minds into how to help somebody, or the different mental health there is, or the different symptoms and causes, you're never really going to change anything.
Yeah. So is that the same with you, Will? Do you think that's the same? And that's the biggest sticking point when it comes to the stigma around it?
I know firsthand it is. Like you two, I'm not going to go into too much detail about myself because I don't really want to right now.
Which you don't have to, which is fair enough. You're not ready.
Yeah. Like it's not that I don't want to do it at all, but it's not on a podcast or not face.
No, but that's the thing. It took me years. I reckon I probably struggled 4 years. Obviously, it started off light and then it just gets worse and worse and worse. But 4 years before I even said anything. So just because you're not. Go on.
So what it was for me is my life was great. I had an amazing life. It was about this time last year is when I started to notice it. And I think you might have noticed it last year, Danny, about this time. I stopped turning up to football.
Yep.
I kept saying I wasn't fit and stuff. Everyone thought I was just injured. And as we were talking off camera, I am injury prone, but I just kept delaying it because I wasn't myself. And I put a lot of pressure on other people, and especially the people who I was closest to. So my family, my girlfriend at the time. And I still don't like how people perceive my past relationship because everyone sees one thing, what happened at the end.
Yeah.
But no one knows how bad I was for the previous 6 months, what caused that action to happen.
Yeah.
And yes, was that the trigger for me? Because there's always a trigger, especially when it involves like complete breakdown, suicide attempt. There's one trigger. What is it? And for me, the breakup was that trigger.
But the thing that it's always amazed me about mental, sorry to interrupt, but the thing that's always amazed me is how little that trigger can be.
Yeah. It can be.
I don't want to share too much because it's not my story to say about Lauren. But one of her triggers was that there wasn't a certain spoon in the drawer that she wanted to use. And that not being there just threw everything out, and that just triggered her to obviously a downward spiral.
Yeah, it's crazy, and but when you talk about a lot of people who I've explained it to see that trigger as the only reason I was that bad.
Yeah.
But no one knows this, because when I was diagnosed with epilepsy, that's when I started going downhill.
Yeah.
Because my life was consumed by my epilepsy, and I spent years trying to get it under control. And in the end, I had to give up all fun. I stopped drinking. I stopped partying. I stopped doing anything what could affect my life. And I've got a lot to be grateful for, because if I hadn't have done that, I wouldn't have gone traveling to New Zealand.
Yeah.
But my mental health got so bad because I wasn't socializing, because I wasn't talking to people. And back then, football did help me, because I was seeing you guys on the Wednesday and the Sunday.
Yeah.
But that was it. That I wasn't doing anything on a Saturday night. I wasn't doing anything I was literally on my own in my room.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the most important thing to take away from this entire podcast is, if you feel down at all, don't leave it too long. Don't let yourself get so down that something will trigger you and you do something what you can't take back.
Exactly.
Because it's not you has to deal with the consequences. If you're successful, or if you actually go through with it, it's your family, it's your friends, it's your loved ones who has to deal with the consequences. That's why now there's literally nothing with him. Obviously, not unless it's a major problem. Nothing really gets to me anymore, because I've been to the point of where I was willing to take my own life, and I got lucky. I got very, very lucky and managed to escape it. That I don't let anything else get to me now. That's why I'm so carefree and stuff with certain things. I just don't let stuff get to me anymore. Because if you got to the point where you're willing to take your own life, nothing else can phase you.
No, totally.
And I can honestly say, if it wasn't for my brother Tim and his partner Megan, I wouldn't be here today. It's when my brother,
that's the thing.
In front of me.
Everyone's got that rock that's dragged them through.
Yeah.
Yeah, I say this is it'd be good to do another show, even if we can do one with Will, for you to tell your story as well, if that's something you ever want to do at some point.
Yeah.
So we've got a couple of minutes left.
Already, it's gone that quick.
It's gone that quick, yeah. But for Danny, to wrap this up, to people watching, people listening, what is your final biggest piece of advice? Someone's watching this right now and thinks, actually, I do need to talk to someone, but don't know where to go.
The thing is, I'll reiterate what Will said. No matter how small it is, start off by reaching out to a friend. That's what I'd say. If they don't understand, don't hold it against them. It's not that they're against it. They just don't understand. And then if you're really struggling, turn to your likes of your Mind, your Samaritans, your GP, places like that will help you through. And if you're feeling suicidal, I've said this to so many people, please ring 999. If you're feeling suicidal, it's an emergency, ring 999. But always turn to a friend first. If they can't help you, escalate it. That's what I've always said. Worst case scenario, if you're listening to this and you're struggling, speak to me. I'll help you through. That's all I can say to people.
Yeah. So we'll put your Twitter handle up on the screen as well. Throughout the show, we should have numbers down here as well. All to the Samaritans, all the help numbers as well. They'll be up on the screen all through the episode that you probably may have seen already now. And if you've got a story you want to talk to us as well, tweet at the show as well at the opening 45, and tweet at myself or Will as well, and Danny. And if you want to share a story, things like this in the comments, people will see. And again, it's that positive reinforcement that we're trying to put out, which is just like what Every Man Matters does. And follow the club as well. And if you are local, pop along to a game.
Can I throw a cheeky plug out there for my merchandise while we're on here?
Of course you can. I was going to go through it myself.
We've got jumpers. We've got hoodies. Will's wearing one of our T-shirts. Ollie's got the 2 replica kits on that you can get from Kit Locker. We've also got beanies in stock. And what everybody needs, which the boys will have in the coming episodes, we've even got mugs. So if you're interested in any of them, every single penny will go to Mind. We don't keep any of it. Get at us on Twitter and we'll be able to sort it out for you. That's my shameless little plug.
Talking about that, Ollie, do you want to tell Danny about our announcement this week?
Yeah. So off the back of that, we have basically decided we are going to make the Everyman Matters Football Club and the Everyman Matters charity the official charity of the podcast.
Appreciate that.
Going forward, we're trying to raise money for the same cause as well, and plugging more support back into the club. As I say, it's something that I'm involved with anyway.
Yep.
And it's something I want to be, everything I do, going back into it. Will as well has been the driving force in this idea of trying to, amalgamate the two.
Yeah.
So going forward, we're going to be trying to push that as much as we can with our limited listeners, and hopefully as we get bigger,
Mate, it all starts somewhere, doesn't it? It all starts somewhere.
And
Exactly.
for me personally, this podcast is Ollie's podcast. I'm just a part of it. If we start making money, every penny I make from this podcast is going to Everyman Matters. I
appreciate that. I appreciate that, boys. I really do. It means a lot. It means the world to me.
No,
Really do.
I totally believe what you're doing. You're a huge inspiration to people like myself and Ollie and loads of people around this area. You should be so proud of yourself, and Lauren as well. What you two have achieved. Ollie as well involved in that as well. You guys have opened people's eyes a lot, and I don't think you get the recognition you deserve. And
thank you.
People who watch this will reach out to any of us, and we can actually tackle men's mental health and mental health in general.
Yep.
And we really want this problem dealt with.
Yeah.
Well, seeing as you're throwing an announcement out, I'm going to throw one out from Everyone Matters.
We've only got like 20 seconds left.
Yep. Right. Basically, we've secured Billericay Football Town for another year. So Everyman Matters isn't stopping. That is all. Love you all.
Love that. Like and subscribe. This is going to cut out any second now. And drop a review in the comments, all the yada, 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 all that stuff. And see you next week, guys. Thank you.
See you later.